All right, welcome back. Today what we're going to do is learn how to fork a project. A fork is when you have a project and then you split off of it so that the project can keep being adjusted and you can do whatever you want and it doesn't affect the original project, unless at some point you want to bring it back in. But our project today, you're going to fork off of the Game Design 2D repository into your own repository, okay? And then you're going to add me to it so that I can see what you guys are doing and grade your work. So that's the focus. So we're going to start off, as you can see, I've got a repository that is not mine. This is called Summer Game. It's actually Mr. Merlino's project. And what we're going to do is we are going to fork his project. In order to do so, we have to go to the website. So log into GitHub. I'll wait. Okay, so you've logged in. Now what you're looking at right now is your GitHub screen. Okay, what you're going to do is under repositories, you have a repository, which is CN Donnan GD2D. All right, you're going to click on that repository, and in there, it's going to say fork. Okay, I'm going to jump to a different one that is not mine. That way it looks like yours. So I'm going to use a repository that's not mine so you can follow along. So I'm jumping into Mr. Merlino's branch, into his repository called Summer Game. I'm going to fork it by pressing this button up in the top right under fork. If I click fork, it's going to say, where should we fork Summer Game? Go ahead and use your own ID, which is your user ID. And when you click on it, it's going to think for a second, and then it's going to populate your ID, and then it's going to say GD2D. Because what you're doing is you're copying everything from our 2D game design so you can start with whatever pieces you want. Now, to get it on your local computer, you're going to have to make sure you go to code and then set down here it says open with GitHub desktop. If you click that button, it'll ask you where you want to put it. So we are going to change the local path to something that will work for you. Make sure your local path doesn't say OneDrive. It should just be probably the C drive with a colon and then a backslash, and then type in a new name of the file. So let's call it, or a new folder to put it in. I'm going to call it test for now. You call it whatever game you're calling it. Then I'm going to hit clone, and that way I've got a test folder. Now this can take quite a bit of time. So I will come back to you when it's done. It's 11:58. Okay, so as you can see, we are done. It is now 12 o'clock, so it took about 2 minutes. Your mileage may vary depending on your internet speed, where you're sitting in the room, whatever. But now we have to decide, how do we plan on using this fork? Are we going to contribute to the parent project? Which means, are you going to push it back into the GD2D at some point? The answer is no. You're going to use it for your own purposes. So I'm going to hit continue. All right, and now you should have your current repository, and it should say your ID, and it should have this fork symbol. Now the difference is you're the only one who can get to this file for now. We need to change that. So let's go back to the website, and in your repositories, you should have your user ID, GD2D, and it'll say forked from CN Donnan, and it's called GD2D. Okay, what you want to do is go into settings. Under settings, you can add collaborators. All right, so it says you haven't added any collaborators yet, so you definitely want to add yours truly. So you're going to put CN Donnan, and then it'll say it'll find me, but since it can't, I'll add my son, Reese Donnan. So, and you're going to click CN Donnan and add CN Donnan to this repository. So I should get a whole bunch of invites today as you're doing this to join in your forked repositories. Okay? So once you add your teammates and me to this project, then you're in pretty good shape. You can open up GitHub, go to your name, your GD2D, we'll have a little fork next to it, and then you're going to go to Repo, Show and Explorer, and double click on it. So this, you'll notice it's in my test folder because that's the folder I put it in. So my test folder is opening up, and then and then it will pop up. So this is my fork of Mr. Merlino's game. Okay, so you can see that everything's in here. I can play it, and it is a version before. Now I can also close that, go back in, and then once again there's all these files that updated, because once again when you first open up a project it goes a little crazy. But that's how you fork a repository. So you should, just as a reminder, the first thing you do is log into GitHub. You go to my repository, you fork it, you tell it you're going to use it for your own personal use, and then you're going to add people to it, and then it should work fine. All right, good luck, and hopefully it just nice, smooth, easy process. See you next time.